Hi guys, welcome to the very first East Porter County Tech Connect. We're going to do this monthly. Chris had the idea to connect with you guys using YouTube live streaming / Google Hangouts as another way to connect and have an opportunity to keep everyone updated with technology initiatives and give everyone an opportunity to answer any questions that you might have. Say hi, Chris.
Hey.
So today we are going to be talking about antivirus at home, some new updates with the G Suite, new team drives, and the new Google Sites. We have a really super awesome announcement to make for every secondary teacher, and then we'll have a chance to do some Q&A at the very end. If you are viewing live right now, there is a chat feature in YouTube. If you look on the right side of the page that you're viewing this on, if you have a question, go ahead and type in a question or a comment, and we will answer those questions at the end of the broadcast.
And just a heads up, there is about a 15-second broadcast delay, so go ahead and type in those questions for us as soon as you come up with them, and that way we can have them in time. That makes it easier for us to respond to them. All right, so the first thing we want to talk about today is the importance of protecting your devices at home. One of the big things that we spend a lot of effort on in the technology department here is security for the devices in your classrooms and for the network on the whole. And for the last several years, as we've kind of gone more towards cloud-based products, it's getting just as important that you're protecting your devices at home the same way that we protect our devices here, because you're using so much more services, East Porter services, outside of the district. About a year or so ago, Sophos, who is the vendor that we use here internally for our antivirus protection, launched a new product called Sophos Home. And the tagline for that product is free business-grade security for all your home Macs and PCs. And there's a number of free antivirus products on the market, but what makes this one a little bit different is some of the extra features that this product offers. So in addition to the antivirus component and the malware component, you also get free web protection and basic content filtering. And that kind of goes along with how we protect the computers here internally. So we've had many discussions in the past on the various reasons why we filter the web. But one of the big reasons is just for the security of it. There's a lot of phishing sites out there, a lot of malware sites, and by utilizing web protection, you can gain additional protection from those sites before they get on your PC. So just a couple bullet points here on Sophos Home. It's free for up to 10 personal devices. It supports Windows 7 Plus, so 8 and 10, no problems, and also OS X 10.8 and above. All the information you need is available online at www.sophos.com/home. It's really important that you sign up with your personal email account. This is going to be for your personal computer. Make sure to sign up with your personal email account. And then, like any other antivirus product, you want to make sure to remove any existing antivirus software. So if you've paid for something, if you're in an active subscription for something, you might just want to stick with that until you get to the end of the current contract with that. But when it's time to renew, there's really no reason for paying for antivirus at this point. And like I said, there's a lot of free products available out there. We've just kind of picked this one to highlight because it is a little bit different with the web protection component. So another advantage is the management is all cloud-based. So you have the ability to kind of do some differentiated policies. Let's say you have young kids at home and you want to provide some additional web filtering for them, some additional category-based filtering. You can assign stuff differently to different devices. Versus your personal device, you might just want to filter out malware. So choice is totally up to you, but www.sophos.com/home. And there's a lot of additional information there and additional ability to sign up. So, and we had a question come in here regarding this. Can you use that in conjunction with other free security? Typically not recommended. If you're running two or multiple antivirus engines on a computer, it can really degrade the device's performance. So As I mentioned earlier, if you're in a contract on a paid product, you might just want to sit tight until that contract's up. But certainly no need to continue paying for that software going forward.
Okay, you've probably seen this when you've been working in your Google Drive lately, but recently G Suite rolled out a new product called Team Drives, and East Porter, we applied to be part of the early adopter program, and we were accepted. So recently, I think it's been about a week or so, you've had access to Team Drives within your Google Drive. So Team Drives, it shifts the focus from the individual owner of Google Drive that you're used to more of a team focus. The content ownership in a Team Drive is as a team. So if you are sharing and creating, you're doing so at the team level. Team Drives works just like normal Google Drive, but this drive, the Team Drive, can have multiple owners. And what's so cool about it is when someone leaves a team or is added to a team, the content does not leave with that person. And I'll explain more about that in just a second here. The product is in beta until January of 2018. So that means within the next year, we will likely see it change often. And that's what's so cool about being part of an early adopter program is Google is looking for feedback. So as you use it, if you decide to try it out, definitely send your feedback in, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Team Drives are currently not available to our students. That was disabled at the admin level. We definitely want to learn a little bit more about how this works before we set our students loose with it. Just note that the early adopter program will only allow us to create Team Drives within our domain for now. So the way that Team Drives work is that everyone that's added to a Team Drive gets immediate access. So you don't have to go through any sort of sharing or creating shared folders and sharing things you've created inside of different folders. It's a lot easier. You make it in the Team Drive. Everyone that is a member of that drive has immediate access. And as I mentioned before, teams change, committees change, and so if a member of that team leaves, the content does not. And Team Drives also prevent any sort of accidental deleting of content. If you are working within a Team Drive and you decide to delete something, Google will ask you a couple times, are you sure you want to delete this? So you won't be accidentally deleting content that is shared. If you're working in Google Drive, you will see on the left side of your screen, there are some tabs. Normally it just says My Drive, something like that. Underneath that, that's where you will see Team Drive, and you can create a Team Drive and docs within it just like you normally would in Google Drive. A couple other things to note. You can't add files that you don't own. So if someone has shared something with you and you aren't an owner of it, you won't be able to move that inside of a shared Team Drive. You are listed as a creator on the files that you add or create inside of the Team Drive. You're not the owner. So just know that if you're making something new inside of a Team Drive, everybody is essentially the owner of it. The verbs are just a little bit different, or the verbiage rather. That makes no sense because it's a noun, but anyway. Your drive settings and your Team Drive settings are the same. So what that means is if you have your normal Google Drive set up to receive notifications via email, that will also apply to your Team Drive. And I tested this out a few different ways. If you were to then change something, your settings within your Team Drive, it will automatically reflect on your normal Google Drive. So there's no way to have different settings for different drives just yet.
And if all this still is kind of a little unsure on how the difference is going to work, a good way to think about Team Drives is how we've traditionally used the W drive in the past. So it's a shared space that's just not owned by any one person, but multiple people can contribute to. And that's been kind of a criticism of Google Drive for some time, and we've kind of experienced issues with that more and more as we've built up a large collection of Google Docs that when they're tied to an owner, it's difficult to sort, and if that owner does decide to leave, the process of transferring to another user can be difficult, and it's not as straightforward as it should be. So hopefully Team Drives will kind of help solve some of those issues.
As I mentioned earlier, one of the cool things about being part of this early adopter program is that Google is looking for our feedback as users. So when you are working in your Team Drive, if you go to Settings, Help, and then Send Feedback, you can share any of the feedback or suggestions that you have about what should be changed or fixed or improved with Team Drives. Okay, the second cool update that I want to share with you guys concerning G Suite is the new Google Sites. I have been anticipating this change for quite some time. Google Sites, the classic Google Sites, definitely needed to be improved. It looked pretty old school. So the new Google Sites is available to everyone, both teachers and students. It is a much cleaner design. It is so much easier to use. Classic Sites, if you've used it, you know that it is not really, it wasn't an easy app. However, with the new Google Sites, you will see fewer functions. That will change soon. It's a brand new product, and Google has already shared that they're going to be adding stuff to it. And so for right now, classic sites and new sites, they're both going to exist parallel to each other, and then eventually they are going to merge. The new Google Sites is a lot more user-friendly. It integrates with all of your content in Google Drive. It is responsive, meaning that the look of it will adapt to whatever device you are accessing a website for. So if you're using a cell phone or a tablet or your Chromebook, the website is going to change depending on that, so it looks nice all the time. Google Sites has real-time editing and collaboration. So just like when you are collaborating in a Google Doc, you have the same sort of collaboration features from new Google Sites. Google Sites lives within your Google Drive, and this is one of the big differences between classic sites and the new Google Sites. So you would create a new site just like you would when you're creating a new Google Doc. So when you're working inside of Google Drive, you would hit New and then Sites and create a doc from within your Google Drive. So that's kind of cool. Like I mentioned before, you can easily add content from your Google Drive. You can share and collaborate with the new Google Sites just like you would on any of the G Suite apps. It's easy to edit. You can click and drag any of the items on your website to change the layout, which, again, if you've used classic sites, that was a really hard thing to do. It integrates with all of the G Suite core apps and then also with some additional apps like Maps and such, which is pretty cool because no matter what you're doing, whatever you're adding to your sites, it makes it really easy using the new sites. You'll have a toolbar on the right side of your new Google Sites that has all of the apps that integrate with sites. So you can just click and access your Google Drive. A few changes to note. Before, if you're used to using classic sites, you had the option to set page level permissions. And basically what this allowed you to do is have one site that you shared with a bunch of people. So maybe you had one Google site that you shared with an entire class of students, and then you only gave certain students access to edit certain pages. So like, I know that, to give a specific example, teachers would use this for classroom blogging. So a teacher would make a Google site. I would add all of my kids as collaborators, and then I would make sure that Chris could only edit his part of it, and so on, which was a really nice feature and a cool way to use Google Sites. So just know that if you are used to classic sites and you try new sites, there are no page level permissions. If you share or add a collaborator, they can change anything that they want. That will be changed eventually, but for now, that's the way it works. Students can share within the domain only. Teachers can share outside of the domain. And again, this works entirely within Google Drive. This is a huge change from before. Access your sites, create your sites, drag them into different folders, share from within Drive, just like you would any presentation or doc. Oh, by the way, I want to share that Jessica Oxendine and Aaron Robbins are both using this new app with students currently. So reach out to them if you have questions about ideas on how to use this with your kids.
All right, so we've been kind of talking about this big announcement that we have coming. I've had some people contact me to see um, see if we could kind of tip the hat a little bit, but let's just cut to it. For all secondary teachers, you're going to be issued a brand new teacher Chromebook shortly after the start of the new year. The existing Toshiba Chromebooks have kind of gotten a little long in the tooth. And as we've started to introduce more multimedia and especially tried to do more and more with video conferencing through Google Hangouts, we've just found that they are not powerful enough to handle that. So all secondary teachers are going to be giving Dell Chromebook 13s. This device has been on the market since the springtime, and just a couple benefits. Very durable design. A lot of comments in the past about the build quality of the Toshibas, and I completely agree. It's amazing how much the Chromebook market has kind of evolved over the past 2 to 3 years, where they've gone from devices that you were getting to for $150 to devices that kind of span the entire spectrum. So the new device is incredibly durable. It has a 1080 high-def screen. It looks fantastic. We actually demoed a number of devices, and the screen resolution was one of the big qualities that we were looking for in a device, and this one has a very, very nice screen. Much faster performance, because Chromebooks and mobile devices have kind of exploded on the scene. The performance that they're getting out of the new processors for these things is just gotten fantastic. So we've done a number of tests with these new devices with Google Hangouts, and it's worked just great. Every bit as good as what we've been doing on our laptops. So much faster performance and longer battery life. I believe these are going to get about 11 or so hours. So that's the big announcement.
Woo.
Very glad we were able to do that for you guys. And like I said, stay tuned for more information on the rollout of those sometime after the start of 2017.
I think we should show them what they look like.
I don't want to turn the camera on myself.
Well,
I'll email you all a pic.
Lame. All right. So part of the initiative with rolling these new Chromebooks out was because of Google Hangouts, like Chris mentioned. And so lately, when you guys have been meeting virtually for your curriculum work, right, this would be a really good option so that you don't all have to drive in the morning to meet at one campus. And then there are lots of cool classroom uses. So if you haven't tried Google Hangouts to connect with experts in the field or do a mystery hangout, connect with other classrooms within our district or beyond, this would be a really good opportunity to do that, because now you are going to have a device that you can use with confidence with Google Hangouts. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks, Chris. All right, that's pretty much it, right?
That's it for our pre-planned stuff. We'll take questions here. We'll kind of leave this open. Any kind of technology question for me, or curricular technology question for Diana, anything that's on your mind, go ahead and throw that through to the chat window, and we'll do our best to answer it. Also, our intent is to do this once a month. So if you have suggestions about content that you'd like to see, you can throw that in the chat window as well, or feel free to email Diana or myself. We are going to be changing the broadcast times around each month. What we're attempting to do is hit the different SRP periods at each school. So we chose 2 o'clock today. I believe that lines up with Washington's secondary, not Washington?
Kautzen Morgan.
Kautzen Morgan, sorry. Kautzen Morgan's SRP. We're going to try to hit Washington here next month. So those times will be changing. But if you have any suggestions for content or format, let us know, and we'll do our best to honor that.
Also, if you look below the video, you'll see those links that Chris was sharing with the Sophos Home stuff. Those links are listed below in the video details. And I also forgot to mention that if you would like to use Google Sites with your students, I worked to create some tutorial stuff for your students. If you would like access to that, I can share that with you. It's just a how to use Google Sites for kids. Okay, Lauren is asking to know more about Google Hangouts and what people use them for. Let's see, as far as meetings go, I use them a lot to just meet virtually with different groups throughout the state. as far as using them in the classroom, a mystery Google Hangout is a really good classroom application. And what that is you connect with a person ahead of time, and you don't tell the students who you are connecting with and where they're from. And the students would then, your students would then ask questions, and throughout the questions and the clues that they're given, they figure out where this person is or who they are. And so that can be content specific. There are lots of different uses as far as, we did a few earlier in this year where students here connected with students in different districts across the state to have conversations about digital citizenship, which was pretty cool. I know some of our middle school students tried that. Chelsea Bramfeld did that. Christy Campbell did that. I'm not sure if there are any others. And I know it would also be really cool, like Lauren, you could easily do a Google Hangout now with some of the other Spanish classes within the district. That would be a really good way to start. And if you want to try it, definitely reach out and you and I can sit down and come up with an idea that will work best for you.
I've been a big Skyper for a number of years, and I've kind of switched over to Hangouts. And one of the big benefits from a meeting perspective is just the number of simultaneous users that can participate in a Hangouts chat. So I think we can have up to 10 users that you can video chat with, and Google was kind of beat Skype to the game on that particular feature. It offers the screen sharing, just like you're seeing what we're doing today, so you don't necessarily have to do live video with one another. You can share slideshows like we are over Google Hangouts. And then just the convenience of Google Hangouts, it's built into your Chromebook and you know, utilizes your East Porter Google account. So it's very, very easy to set up. I'd also like to add, we've had some teachers that have been taking advantage of this since last year. And even from a foreign language perspective, we had a classroom of ours connect with a family in Spain last year, and I was fortunate enough to get to sit in for that. It was really neat to see the kids interact with native Spanish speakers. So a lot of possibilities that Hangouts can open up.
Yeah, I will say that the screen sharing is really nice. A group of coaches is looking to do this later this week to share some technology tips with each other. And I'll be honest, doing the screen share sort of makes it a little bit less scary when you start doing this stuff for the very first time, because then people don't have to look at your face awkwardly while you're talking. Yeah, Doreen, that's a really good idea. So you could have a Google Hangout for all of your librarians in the corporation. Instead of wasting time driving and trying to find a really good time for everyone to meet, this would be an easy way to do that. I hope that that purchasing these new Chromebooks allows everyone the opportunity to then meet across the district much more often. Doreen is asking if I will show how to do the slideshow. Absolutely. Yep. I can come help anyone set up Google Hangouts, or I can also just send out some tutorials on how to do this on your own. I know that the social studies curriculum team led by Scott Bowersock did this last week for their curriculum meeting, and it went really well.
Any other questions for us before we sign off? And if you come up with something after the fact, certainly reach out to us via email, and we might even look at then adding that to the agenda to next month's chat. So if we have nothing else, just want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in today. This video is recorded, so if you have colleagues who weren't able to tune in today, you can share the link from the YouTube channel, and this can be watched later on directly from YouTube. So if there is nothing else, just want to say thanks and hope you guys all have a great day.
Bye.